conditions of the relationship needs to be handling these conflicts in a healthy way, as I've laid out here. But the boundary for the relationship is that we don't do these other things. And these are the things that'll kill your relationship, because this is the what not to do. All right. And remember, her instinctual need is to have good feelings and to be the good person or the good chimp. And that always needs to be fostered in the discussion as the leader and as the guy. And as the woman, criticizing his capability is the downfall of where you're going to fall apart. Trying to be right, therefore attacking him and his capability. Because remember, guy wants to be useful and the girl wants to be the good person, right? Good chimp, useful chimp. If a guy is attacking her to make her feel less like a good person because of her wrongs that she did, that's going to have a detrimental effect on the relationship and how she feels. And guys will do this to get short-term gain and manipulation when they're trying to win, but the long-term effects are always detrimental. All right. And by making her out to be the bad chimp and her feeling excessively guilty about that will only get you so far for a point. And after a while, she will have to make you into the villain, right? For her to accept herself, she has to be the good chimp and be seen as such by everybody else. And she wants to be seen that way by you. But if you hold that over her head, she will defend that to her death. And that's where most of you guys lose these arguments with her and lose these discussions, because you're making her feel like a bad person. And that if all you do is reinforce that she is a good person, and just because she did this wrong thing, that doesn't make her a bad person. However, not dealing with this problem effectively might make her a bad person. So we need to deal with it effectively, and that you accept her for who she is and the mistake. That goes really far. If she feels like she's not being demonized and made out to be a bad person, then that's good. Now, for the women, they need to make sure they're not making the guy feel like the bad person in a sense of not being useful. Not being a good caretaker would be being less useful, right? Not being capable would be less useful. So when accusations of you're just inconsiderate, or you don't care about me, or you don't care about anyone but yourself, or you're selfish, that's a lack of capability in being a good leader and caretaker for subordinates. And I say caretaker, I don't mean the way that a woman cares for kids, or a woman cares even for a guy, but I mean, caring for your tribe, like taking care of those needs, making sure resources and protection is available, and making sure needs are being met, right? And leading. And so you're saying he's not a capable leader. And when a woman does that to a man, that causes the man to lose those emotions for her. And so for the guy too, that's where these toxic patterns come in. And if your woman does all these things, it makes you feel less capable, less like a man, less like a good, capable leader, just because of the mistakes you've made, then she needs to maybe not be considered as a partner, right? If she's going to keep doing that. And so this is where the boundaries have to be. So we have conditions. The conditions of the relationship needs to be handling these conflicts in a healthy way, as I've laid out here. But the boundary for the relationship is that we don't do these other things. Now, first thing has been talked about in other places, and you can find it in the No More Mr. Nice Guy book. I don't look at that as my Bible or anything like a lot of people do. It's not impeccable, but one thing that the book No Mr. Nice Guy brings out is the concept of deering. So something that men tend to do, but either side should not do this. And that's where you defend or excuse or try to explain away or rationalize your behaviors. But that is the deering part of it. That is where you guys are trying to make her understand you and to feel like you're a useful chimp by understanding why you did the bad thing, or defending the bad thing, or, well, I did the bad thing, but who cares? It wasn't that big of a deal. Or let me explain to you why I did this thing. Or well, I did that, but you did this and that caused me to do that. All that stuff is you placating to her, you trying to make her understand. So you get her permission, her to say you're a good boy. Don't do it, because what it does is it causes her to feel what? Not listened to and not understood. And it causes her to feel like you're not going to fix or lead her through the problem. Okay. That's why you need to do Luca and not do Deering. She's like, you're real. Well, and you're like, hold on, we don't call each other names. So let's try again. So what's upsetting you? You did this, you did that, and you should have done that. You're being inconsiderate. She's coming at you with all of the stuff, right? She's mad and upset. You're listening because you have emotional self-control. You're not reliant on her for your sense of value. You have frame. So you're like, okay, tell me more about that then. I understand why you're upset. What about, okay, so tell me about this, right? Clarity, right? That's why you do that instead of Deering. Not, well, okay, but I did that because of this, blah, blah, blah. Let me explain. All right. Don't explain yourselves, guys. So that's the first thing. That's actually toxic. And that's a toxic pattern between dominant support and submissive relationships. All right. Our leader subordinate relationships. And so you don't want to do that. Okay. And so you're not trying to be listened to and understood. All right. You're doing the listening and you're doing the understanding. What you're getting is compliance in the plan. All right. So that's first thing. So we got Deering out of the way. You're not going to do that.